So everybody's working on this. So the first thing this hotshot Olympian is he tacks and doesn't slow down as much as anybody. He exits his tack, and if you sail with a tactic or anything like that, and if anybody, do you guys do have tactics or anything like that uh, with boat speeds? Hit a target on the backside. If you're going in at 5 knots, if you can hit 3.8 on the backside, try to get it to 4. If it's 3.2, try to get your absolute maximum back speed. And then how long does it take to get up to that full boat speed again? So when you start playing with numbers, when you start getting in, and I sail a Melges, so I got a tactic, I got a puck, I've got, all these things, and my job is max boat speed. My job is to sail as fast as I can, to be able to exit out of a mark, out of a tack, to exit out of a jibe faster than I came into a jibe. And in order for me to do that my job is to be the initiator and the steerer of the boat, and then the crew will help me facilitate with the tack. If you tack too slow, they might jump over to the weather side too quickly. You might not get a good roll tack. If you tack too fast, they backwind the jib, and it might not. If you've got lifelines, you might have to skirt it. So the idea is find the arc of any boat. So if you hop on a new boat, here are the things. Find out its max boat speed. I'm not telling you if you're a pincher or you're a footer. I tend to be a footer. That's what you find your max boat speed as. Then you find your arc. Then you find how quickly can you get back up to the max boat speed. And then what you determine is how much have you lost because of that tack. So then you determine that into wind shifts. Like on a laser, we used to tack in 2.5 degrees because we knew we didn't have to lose anything. Dinghies, they don't slow down. You can pump your way out really fast. I know I also sail a J160, and it's almost 15 degrees because we're coming in at 7.5 knots. If we do really well, we exit at 4. It takes me almost 3/4 of a minute to get back up to full boat speed. So I don't dare tack unless I got more than a 10-degree wind shift. Every boat's different. My tack on a J160 is like 40 acres. Because you don't dare turn the rudder. The rudder's as big as this. It's twice as big as this. The keel is 9 feet deep. So, but luckily I got 38,000 pounds to get me through waves and whatever. So I work the arc out. Now my crew knows exactly what the arc is. Sailing a Melges, it takes a lot of practice. You go upwind, downwind, upwind, downwind, and the crew gets so that it becomes, a term is called third person. And that means that, like a basketball player, they don't even know they've shot the shot. They don't even know they've dribbled between their legs. They don't even know they've done it. If you can get to that point where you and your crew don't even know what they do, then you will have a better exit number than someone who doesn't. If one crew's a little late, it's a little slow. So getting back, so you can see how I analyze, get a little obsessive. Coming up to the weather mark. Going around the weather mark. Boat speed first. Don't get into letting your don't let your Cunningham off, your backstay if you have one off, until you have your absolute maximum boat speed on your jibing angle, going the favored jibe, going fast. Then, if you're not going to slow your boat speed down at all, or your crew is not going to slow your boat speed down at all, then you can do this. Okay? So, boat speed, boat speed, boat speed. Where's Marsha?
There I am.
Yeah, what's the
mantra? Boat speed, boat speed, boat speed.
This is what I tell people.
Get first.
Boat speed, boat speed, boat speed. It's all down to boat speed. So now we have a tack. We've now gone around the weather mark. The corners is where everybody slows down the most. You want to slow down the least at the corners. And that is where this arc comes into play. That is where distraction comes into play. Other boats, everything else. What you want to do is you want to concentrate on the best and fastest possible way to go around the weather mark, whether to go around the leeward mark and have an exit. Okay, so if the mark is here, you don't want to come in close one way and around the other, because your arc or your boat might be like this. So you want to be able to know your arc and know your entrance and your exit points. You also don't want to pull your sail in too quick. You want to pull the sail in as you go. Now the guys are even getting cute, and they're actually pulling the main in a little ahead of time, the jib out a little bit, to facilitate to do so they don't have to steer as much. Because what's happening at the top end of the game is steering is slow. And if you can just put the helm and leave it and never ever move it, you will be going faster than anybody else. Is this making sense? Is this working here? Okay, so the other thing, what this whole thing, my whole obsession over this whole thing, worked into, it has changed the way that I sailed. I used to be an aggressive son of a bitch. You know, I played the rules and I would park on people. And now what I do is I found out that I sail against me. All the boats that I'm sailing against are just challenges, obstacles, and sort of like fixtures in a video game. Nothing emotional. I am looking for lanes, and I can get around the marks and everything as fast as I possibly can. And if someone beats me, thumbs up. But I will never slow myself down to slow someone else down. Maybe the very end of the last beat a little bit takes over if I'm ahead, right? But I will never lose 2 boat lengths on slowing someone down or luffing them. I will always jibe away. I'll always look for lanes. I will sail my race. And that's sort of a PHRF, God forbid, PHRF kind of sailing. It's non-aggressive. And if you see, I remember doing the Worlds way back. God, I can barely remember back that far. And the whole idea was when we were on the line, and we had like 120 lasers on the line. The word, psst, don't startle the herd. Don't startle the herd. Don't help anybody. Second beat, all bets are off. But the first one is, we have to get to the front of the pack. It's not team sailing, but we were sort of sailing all together, and what we did was we didn't sail as a team, but no one, the smart guys, knew not to bother each other. They knew that it was imperative to get ahead of the other 100 boats, and it only worked, and you didn't have to work as a team, but you didn't bother each other. And if you did in the first, but you went back and apologized, bought the guy the beer that night, and you say, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Because you don't want to interfere. You want to, the object of the game is to get forward, get ahead. And if you start beating each other up, you're going to be 65th in a heartbeat, in the blink of an eye. So I take that as a Zen part. So what I did was I started talking about this as tech and Zen. So my tech part of my conversation here leads to my Zen part. Because the Zen part, and I don't need to tell you guys, is when you sit in a boat that's like 1 inch above the water line, the old seat of the pants is what works, right? And that is the epitome of sailing. And you can take it right up to the biggest boat. The bigger the boat, the harder the seat of the pants, the harder the feel. But if you start off with small boats like this, then the seat of the pants works. And that is how you can keep and maintain your highest boat speed. It's a feel. It's, does the boat, and you hear this all the time, does the boat feel good? And everybody, what does good mean? Well, it's sort of what it means is, are your foils working in harmony? Is your boat working in harmony? Is it going fast through the water? Is it very little effort to sail? Because, I mean, this is a finesse sport. It's not a bullish sport. The bullish sport, it's not. It's a finesse and intelligence sport. It's a mind sport. It's a challenge sport. And this boat, and any boat, is a balance sport. And every time you have to unbalance it by turning your tiller or wiggling your tiller, is you slow down.
Part of sailing.
No
That's part
problem.
of sailing.
Yeah. So how was that? Was that okay? Does that help you? Does it make sense? Next time you go out there, and because heeling changes the feel of the boat. That's why a flat boat's a happy boat. When you heel, your center of effort and center of ladder changes. So it's just a lot to it. Any questions? Any questions at all? Was that pretty?
Working the waves, so you've got a lot of chop.
Yeah.
Still, every time you're working it to work the waves, is there a priority? Like, maybe don't be working the waves so much with your helm. Just let the boat trim your boat right so it works the waves and you can get off that helm.
More main sheet. Your main sheet, the classic thing is you're sailing along, you pull your main sheet in, you get more helm. You let your main sheet, you get less helm. And if you can keep with the combination of flatter boat, moving the waves, very difficult if you sail like in San Francisco Bay, where the waves are this high and this wide, right? Sometimes you just do what they do in Atchels, and that's just open up the leech of the main and the jib, foot off, and motor. And that is their fastest point of sail. That is their way of going. So maybe more twist, boom into center, and keep it flat and power through, rather than fighting. Because wiggling the tiller is slow, and it's proven again and again.
With these boats, without a lot of the adjustments that you have, like Traveler
Yep.
and twist and stuff like
Yep.
that, I find myself heeling more than I would like.
Yeah.
So I tend to let the main out a little bit more, and then just foot
Yeah.
so I can get a little speed, and then try and point a little more. But it still always, it feels like it's over heeled.
Over heel. Well,
When it was blowing 15 this morning, for example.
yeah.
It's a lot for these boats.
Yeah. You always detune top down. It's a vertical sport. You always, what you do, and the reason why, I'm going to give through an analogy. With the Melges, it's critical that we have the jib sheet goes in and out maybe this much. And I tell everybody, when you pull a jib in, 90% is pulling the jib in and 10% is opening and closing your leech. So the last 10% of pulling in your jib opens and closes your leech. So if you let it out 1 inch, you can see on the jib, it opens up this much. They have a window, right? So I'll say like there's 3 marks there. So if I'm fully powered up, I want it in, and we're actually now getting such flat sails, we're slamming them in even tighter to try to attach the leech of the jib onto the luff of the main. And we're actually getting, I'm going down, I mortgaged my house to buy a couple sets of carbon battens. But wow, what a difference, because the entrance right off the mast is straight. It's not curved. Max draft 50%, then hard as nails right to the leech. Okay, good. Now I can slam my jib tighter and it doesn't backwind. As soon as you backwind, it causes eddies, causes speed loss, right? It's turbulence. So this is sort of the future. This is the generation of, and then what they do is then they work on twist. So here's the other part. The other part is you have your sails tight and then you work on twist. Now, the reason for twist, if you just had one sail, the wind's coming off the water and it deflects off the boom, and at the bottom it comes around this way. So, but when you have a jib that is wide on the bottom and narrow on the top. That's why you can have your boom into center on a 2-sail boat, because the wind coming off the jib comes straight there. But as that jib gets less, it deflects the wind less. It gets smaller. So that by the hounds, there is no deflection. Well, the wind's coming from a totally different direction up there, apparent, than it is coming across the boom. So twist.
So you're changing your dynamic as far as your jib. Are you changing some of your platform, like your jib cars, the tracks and stuff, so you can close that up?
A little. Halyard tension for you guys. It's what you want to think about is depower top down. So what you want to do is you don't want to let the sail out, let the sail in, because it breaks your balance of the boat. What you want to do is you want to be able to sail the boat flat by detuning from the top, and so that at the bottom, when it's really blowing, the bottom 5 feet of your sail is where the power is. And then if the wind drops, you just power it back up. So the way, now you want to know, well, how the hell do you do that, right? You want to know how you do it. On a Melges, what you do is we actually, in 20-25 knots, we get the Traveler above center. And what we do is we have a combination of main sheet, fang, and backstay. You can see why I have, and then I've got 2 digital readouts, and then I got a compass. You wonder why I don't do tactics, right? If I look around, they slap me. Anyway, so what you do is you have all these things, but really it comes down to the fundamentals is you go upwind and you close your eyes, get your bum settled, and you get the heel. There's the optimum heel, and then what you do is you settle the boat in. You Traveler up a little bit, main sheet off a little bit, main sheet in a little bit, and then if the sail starts to stall, maybe the fair lead back a tiny bit, and then all of a sudden the boat just settles in. There we go. Okay, so there's base. Wind gets less, crank her in just a little bit, this much. Wind gets a little more, ease it out a little bit. Not too much, you don't want flogging, but you want to, my terminology is you want to put a sail to sleep, especially the top half. You start the sleep at the top and you work your way down, because the power's at the bottom, and then you work your power up. And you can't do it by big in, big out. You work it by foils having that fine entry and the twist of the sails. So it's twist. That make sense?
On a Martin, how do you twist that sail? I don't know if we can.
You have a boom fang and you have a main sheet. You got it. That's, there you go. It looks like you pretty much got everything that everybody else has. So you just have to be able to probably get your vang set, and then Traveler, and then play it. Now what has become the hot word, the hot lingo in big sailing is repeatable settings. And repeatable settings is when you get it right, get your felt marker out, mark it. There, that's good. Get that line. So on the lines, all your lines, you're getting black felt markers. And you get that Sharpie in your ear, and you're just, oh, that worked fast. I'll mark that. And then, oh, geez, a little less, like that. And then you're saying, okay, well, geez, set it to base. And so it's a black marker. So the crew now knows, and you now know. And then, let's let it out a little bit for heavier airs or light airs, and a little bit in. But you have a base setting which you can see. And you do it about an inch wide. And some people even go and they get their little needle and thread. And Melges guys even get to the point where they don't want to throw their sheet out because it's their magic sheet. With their magic line. I can't repeat. I can't make it exactly the same, because they play on that much in and out. It's that fine. But to get to that in and out takes time. You have to be able to get to setup. Now, I don't know anything about the setup of the 16.
Doesn't that change with wind speed though?
What?
You
Absolutely.
Right, your spot. So you may have your spot.
But you now have, you can
match.
match.
Down, instead of it being right there on the cleat, it might be 2 inches above the cleat.
Sure, but when you go around the leeward mark, you pull it into that mark.
Right.
For base.
right?
your baseline
Repeatable
stuff.
settings, repeatable settings. Hey, Cunningham worked on the first beat. Bring the Cunningham back to that mark. Or, hey, let's, because 90% of the time when someone says, if you go around the leeward mark and you pull your main sheet in, 90% of the time it's too tight. Little adrenaline, she's in for good luck. And then you go look down and you got like this much sheet over your black line. You go, whoops, let her back out there. It's all good. So you do that with the main and the jib. So you have repeatable settings. And what you can do is you can even get fancy. You can have 1, 2, 3, 4 different lines, different numbers, right? You can have numbers on your, wherever it is. That's why sailmakers give you numbers. They give you numbers for travelers. They give you number for, so you can put your halyard. So say if you have a halyard and might want to go in or might want to go out, I don't know if it's adjustable, you can have it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have a mark on it. And it goes up and goes down. The trick is to get these repeatable settings so that you can repeat them. Thus the word, right? It's sort of obviously said. Thus the word. So if you can, here I got it. There we go. So if you find, and this is where two-boat sailing, two-boat testing, one guy is stagnant and one guy is the variable. And then you go along, and if you gain, you stop, have a chat. Hey, geez, what did you do? Oh, well, I pulled my main in a little tighter and heeled a little bit more, but it seemed pretty good. Or the other guy said, yeah, I had it out a little bit, had lots of twist, and it worked really good. So the idea is you have yourself your static test, and then you have a variable. The other thing that I'm going to this is just going random right back, is what 90%, what a lot of people do is they pinch. They call it pointing, but it's really pinching. And the other thing that I have found out is pinching and pointing is slow. It might feel really good, but it's not sustainable. Maybe max 45 seconds. But if you like the feel of sailing above somebody, and if they can stay and sail fast, they will end up being here and tacking in front of you. It's a fallacy. It's a maneuver that people fall in love with. And you've got to find that boat speed overrules point. Now, if you have someone, there's always rules and exceptions to all this. If you want to point, you better have a damn good reason to do it, and you got to do it really quickly, and you got to be at full boat speed before you get to point. So, in other words, if you're off the line, you got someone right on your hip, okay, yeah, slam the leech in and get up there. But don't live there. Go back down, increase your boat speed, then come up again, and then come up again, and then come up again. Scalloping. That's a magical word for upwind and downwind, is scalloping. You build your speed, and then if you have to go up, you can. But you can't live there, and then you go back down. So, yeah, so, and same with downwind is scalloping. The other big thing, and I don't know, do you guys wing and wing downwind? It's a wing and wing, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys sail by the lee? Do you guys sail by the lee? So it's maybe a little bit of leech. If you have your boom way out, sometimes you can maneuver.
If I need to.
If you have to. Right? I know with lasers, they actually sail the centerboard, they put it down, and then they actually have the boom out and they sail by the lee, and the flow reverses. Do you guys ever get to doing that? That's sort of
We
neat
do
stuff.
with us, yeah, it's with our lunch bowl.
Yeah.
So
With the sonar, yeah, okay. The critical part of downwind is if it's absolutely flat, your foils, you go straight. Say your boom's out here, say you lean a little bit this way, now your foils will take you this way. Okay, you can actually jibe downwind just by maneuvering your weight left, right, left, neutral. And you can actually do it without steering. So if you want to go down 3 degrees, you tip your boat to weather, the opposite direction. And then your foil will load up on one side and it will take you down that way without steering. Say it again. Yeah. You're sailing dead downwind. Give it a try. Go down dead downwind, sails out, and then what you do is you lean yourself over so the boat heels, keeping the tiller straight, and you'll see on your, and the great reference is your forestay. And you see the forestay, and you'll see it start to move this way. And then straighten it out. And then it's much easier going this way. You go this way and the boat just takes off. But do it without turning, touching your rudder. This is sort of like junior sailing program over here. Take your rudder off and sail around the lake, right? There's a reason for that. Sailing is fast when your boat is balanced. The less you steer, what's the other word for a helmsman if they steer too much? The brakesman. Okay, so they become the brakesman. How many people we know, they're sailing along like this, they got the helm hard on, they're going like this. This is really fun. That's as slow as it gets. That's as slow as possible. Okay, level the boat out, neutral the helm out. It's way more boring. It's boring old sailing. The beer might even sit sitting on the side of the boat, but you're fast because your foils, upper hydrodynamic and your aerodynamics are balanced. Right? Any more?
Can you repeat again in heavy wind?
Yeah.
You depower the upper part.
Yeah, you start at your top and you work your way down.
In light wind, you harden the sail up.
You load it up. And I don't know whether these boats you close your leach off. Do you close the leach off when you're going uphill? Okay. Yeah, no. Yeah?
I just said it.
Okay. So what I think with the leach is a rudder. I'm going to give you a story. I sail for a wonderful man who owns a great big heavy J160. It's 54 feet long. It's a sprint boat, and we've gone to Hawaii. And I'm the token Canadian, eh? I'm the Canadian, and I get to steer this great big boat, and I get to sail around. I got 14 crew, and I've got a guy who I've trained as the mainsail trimmer. And of course, he's about 210 muscles out to here because this sail is a 3DI jet black monster. So one day, they were saying, geez, you're going really well. And they're all sitting on the rail, and I said, hi, guys, come on, hi. Geez, don't you know what you're doing? So I let go, I walk up, I get right in the middle, excuse me, here, sit down. And I sat there. And then they realized no one was steering. What the hell's going on? I said, it's okay, Tom's got it. So I sat there and I chatted to them. Boat was going straight. A little puff came. Tom moved the helm, moved his thing down, brought it back up. Boat kept going straight. I kept sitting there. I said, my job is done here, guys. That is the critical part because the rudder's this big. If I was there fighting it, we'd slow down. But he had it so that he controlled through leach control, traveler. It took, Christ, he's been doing it for 4 years and he's able to get to that point. But that was right there, my attaboy Tom. After all these years, I could just walk up, blowing 20 knots, fully powered up, and I went up, sat down, boats all around us. Anyway, it's cool. I thought it was cool. What's going on back there? So balance, and if you can, and he can control it with opening the leach, closing the leach. Okay, close the leach, more weather helm. Open the leach, less weather helm. And if you have so that you have to let your main out, maybe let the jib out a little bit, just so that there's not cavitation on the luff. But so that you end up with, sometimes the boat that is sailing lower ends up sailing the highest. Does that make sense? The flattest boat that sails lowest will end up sailing the highest, because the boat that sails highest and heels over goes sideways. And you see it all the time. Guy cracks off 3 degrees, jib out, traveler down or main sheet down, vang on. He's now going faster, and these guys are heeling over and hitting waves, and they skid sideways because their foil slides and it's heeling. How's that? Crack off some more questions. I could get into a little more, but I thought I'd just stick to Zen.
You just talked about when if the jib's in too tight and you're letting your main out, you're going to get that cavitation.
Yep.
Can you talk about the slot between the jib and the main?
Yes,
and the
there is no
importance of
such
that
thing as slot. How's that?
Okay, so that's a great place to start.
There is no such thing as slot. What you want to do is you want to attach your jib to your mainsail. Attach.
Match the sail trim?
So if our wonderful clear air, if our fog got if our smoke got really thick, you would see all the eddies coming off the back of your sail, and you go, oh my God, geez, this is slow. What you want to do is you want to be able to have so that your jib, the sail, the wind that comes off the front of your sail, and to be honest, doesn't matter how your telltales are. I'm just blowing every rule out of the book here, aren't I? J24s sail with almost 1.5 feet of luff in the front of their jib. So they can attach the leech of their jib onto their mainsail and sail flat.
So it's like one big sail.
One big sail, both getting into triangular. That's why we have rectangular sails. That's why we have square tops, to get away from it.
You bring it right into the mast?
If you can. That's why, if you look at J109s, they've got the aftermarket thing is in haulers. What they do is they bring the jib in and then open up the leech and make it more of a rounded foot. And what they're trying to do is the leech of that jib matches the luff of that main. So gone are the day of these full mains with the luff at 37% back from luff, whatever. Now it's, if you've got a jib, your main coming off that mast is as flat as that. Flat as this floor. Exits. Because your main is not an individual foil. It's not a foil. It's a half of a foil. The jib is your accelerant. Your jib is the head beginning of your foil. That is why you don't knuckle forward on a jib, because you remember it's bigger than what it really is. That is why J24s keep the genoa up so it overlaps, but they luff about this much. It keeps the boat. And then they just put every fat guy they know, they drag them out of the bar and put them on the rail because they get little tiny rudders, right? So they keep them flat. And then they sail with neutral helm. And in this heavy stuff, do you know where their boom is?
Above center?
Above center, exactly. I'm going to rattle off one more for you. If you watch the TP52s in light air and you look at them from directly behind, their booms are 5 feet to weather. Because they don't give a rat's ass what's on the boom. They're looking up 30 feet. They're looking at this. And what they're doing is they're trying to create lift on their foils. Okay? So they're trying to get a certain amount of speed and a certain amount of lift. I'm going to go really another thing for you. These boats, I don't know what the boat speed is, but every boat has a minimum speed before your hydrodynamic foils lift. So if you're sailing in 3 knots of wind, you're just dragging lead around. There's no lift, so you can't do any point. You're just dragging them. Now, there's a certain point where the speed gets up to a certain level where the boat starts to get the lift. But the person that tries to point out of attack, they're just stalling their foils. You have to have speed to point. You have to have speed. Where is she? Where is that girl? What is it, Marcia?
What?
What's your call?
Boat speed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now,
Neutral helm.
Neutral helm. Boats, flat boat.
Flat boat, yes. No heeling.
some of this, like you were saying, having it over trimmed as far as your boom up above weather.
Yeah, it wouldn't work for these
No,
boats.
and some other boats don't balance out that way. Well,
No,
because they don't
but
have-
52s are
Right, yeah.
Ferrari. No,
Yeah.
they're Formula Ones.
Right. But every boat's a little different depending upon where you want to put it to get maximum draft from the sail set. Like these, you have you actually have less adjustments than you would with a lot of the boats that have, you know. Like,
Absolutely, but you live.
you live with what you have.
Get in your brain
Right.
what is fast,
Right.
and then adapt.
Right.
I mean, I'm sailing 525s, which are tumble home 1975 boats.
Yeah.
They're you've seen them. They're pinchy stern, big wide thing. They got an overlap. But you know what? I use the principles off the Melgis on that, which is totally a different kettle of fish, totally different beast. And then I use my Melgis information for my J160. So I don't think you can find bigger range than that unless you get me into a J boat or something like that. But even then,
You're
Yep.
taking your analogy of one sail, jib and main, one sail.
yeah.
Are your foils, rudder and keel, one foil? If you get them balanced right, are you getting any carryover from the keel coming across the rudder? And is there like a
There's no carryover, but what you want to do is, and every boat is different. And I read this wonderful article by Terry Hutchison, and I had to read it a couple of times. I was going, Jesus Christ, you guys are just getting really anal here. So what he does, he gets a J24, or yeah, gets a J24, and he does it for every different boat he gets into. Okay, now this guy's got nothing but time and money, but he goes and he gets the boat, and he drags it along in a marina. Okay, sorry. Back it up, puts it on the crane, lines everything up, lines the rudder up with the keel. Then he puts it in the water, and then he drags it along, and he finds out where his tiller is, and tiller extension actually, is so the boat's absolutely straight. He actually tows the boat and then lets them let go. So he just drifts through the water, flat water, no influence. And he marks that as 0. Then when he goes sailing, and if he has an etchel or a bigger keel boat, he can actually, the boat sails better because it scallops. No boat goes straight upwind, right? It goes like this, right? You're pointing here and you're actually going there. With Melgis and skinny foil people, you can't do that. The foils stall. But if you have a great big etchel with a skeg rudder, you can actually bring your helm up, and he does it all the way up to 5, maybe 6 degrees. If you know how little that is on a tiller, it's like there. And that's what he works on. He says, that's how much helm I would give myself on an etchel. And if he has any more helm, he corrects it. So if you have yourself, example, a big keel, long keel, like a ID1 design, Dragon, full-length keel, you actually have to, you can turn it sideways, and the whole keel on this side will give you that lift. But as the foils get shorter, you can't deflect it off a straight line as much because it cavitates. I mean, the keel on a Melgis is only this wide. The rudder is only this wide. If you deflect it off, she cavitates before she causes lift. So you've got very little lift with these foils. Now these boats, you've got big rudders. So I would say that it would be, you could actually go off on an angle, which would mean to me, just thinking it through out loud, is you would be able to close off the leech more on your mainsail until you're overpowered, to fully power, and what you would do is you would be able to get more lift. But there's a certain point where you have to have it at neutral and give lift, but don't pinch.
So a little bit of heel's okay.
No. A little heel is something, but I like I was out yesterday and it was like one down from this, it was next to nothing. I sailed flat because I wasn't going fast enough for my foils. I was just dragging this lead around. I was dragging my rudder around. There was no lift. There was no heel. You can go with 7% of blah blah blah, this and that. But bottom line, if your boat is flat on the bottom and tumble home like a 525, never heel, because every time you heel, now there's more water going around it. So if you get yourself big fat boats and the bottom is relatively flat, sail them flat. Like a J24. They're flat in the bottom, they got a big round sides, sail them flat. Melges, they sail that much because they're pretty skinny little things. Yep.
Can you expand a bit on your philosophy of footing and squirting?
Okay.
Because you talked about pinching and pointing.
Yeah.
I think you should talk to people about your principle of footing.
My principle of footing is, say it.
Foot to get speed.
Boat speed, boat speed, boat speed. I'm forever, when I sail, I'm forever lagging out. I'm one of those guys now that people come up to me and say, "Wow, how are you so fast? Why am I so fast?" And I've gone by this Olympic principle, which I learned a long time ago. I stay away from people, I sail my own race, and I'm obsessed with boat speed. And that is sail tune, sail shape, tacking correctly, crew weight area, forward to back, weight over keel. Don't steer. When I have my tiller extension, it's wedged right on my thigh. If you probably with this boat, you can probably have it so you just have it so it sets. And then try to move the boat without doing it, either through sails or through body language. I think these would be, I'd love to get in one of these. Can I get one of these? Can I go for a sail? I'd love to go for a ride. That would be fun. Because I think that these are, compared to most boats here, these would probably be way more fun to sail than any of these boats out here. Because you are so close to the water, you have so simple controls, and Don doesn't build a slow boat, so doesn't design a slow boat. So I think that's good. Anything else? Did I help out? Did I confuse you? Is it all going in the right direction? Was that good? Okay, I'm glad I could help you. Beer? Anybody want a beer? Want a beer?
I got one.
You got one? Anybody?
I got one.
You missed the squirting. I hate
Oh, I'm sorry.
He asked, he was listening. He never heard the term before.
Where's Mark? What's the foot and squirt thing?
Point squirt.
Point squirt.
Oh, that's a great technique. Gets
Yeah.
it every time.
So, and it's especially good with a Melges. So what you have to do is, and it works really well with a sporty boat. Doesn't work so well with slower boats. But what you do is you're going along and there's someone right here. And remember I tell you, pointing is for short turn game. What you do is you foot off 1 degree, build your boat speed, and then squirt. And then go back down. Then squirt, and then back down. You don't do it if you're clear, but if you have someone below you, you can just, you go along and you build your boat speed, and you see that they might be going a little slower than you, then you do your squirt. And you do a quick bleed, and now you're back down again. And it has to be subtle. You don't drag your crew's feet in the water, right, Mark?
That's right.
It's a subtlety.
So are you doing it with main sheet trim, closing the leech a little bit and squirting up, or are you doing it with a
Yep.
little bit of travel around?
No, main sheet. Yeah, main sheet gives me helm. Right? I don't like steering much, so I pull my main sheet in, and I tell my crew, hike.
Flatten it out, squirt up.
Yeah, square it up, and I can get a half boat length to weather.
So 5-10 seconds, and then
Right back down. Yeah, it's really short. And if you get greedy,
this stall.
you slow down compared to the rest of the boats, but you can cheat that little bit, and you can do it also with these boats, I can guarantee. But you have to first you have to foot to point. There's another little, my wonderful little, I should have a shirt with all my little analogies. You have to foot to point. You just can't point. You have to foot, max boat speed, boat speed, boat speed, boat speed, then point. And then you can't live there. You have to always come back and always work your boat speed. Now, my boat speed might be faster than you. Must be my wife. No. Back in a minute, Sue. So anyway, you have to be, my foot might be different from your foot. Your sail trim might be different from my sail trim. So you have to, each boat has to be different. Every boat is different. Every sail cut is different. If you got a heavy crew or a light crew, it's different. Do you see what I'm getting? It's a haze out there, but you first have to get your seat of your pants sailing, and you have to say, this feels good. This feels great. Now that this feels good, let's repeat this. Let's just keep repeating this in light, medium, heavy airs. So, twist. How do we get to twist? Right? Twist is you want to flatten your sails right out. Your leading mainsail, your jib, you want to be able to pull in and pull out. You want to be able to ease it off so it opens up. And then what you want to do is you want to be able to vang on, traveler up, and then you be able to main sheet. So if you let your main sheet out 1 inch more, it backwinds. Okay, so you want to put your sail to sleep in a twist mode so that it starts there, but if you pull it in 1 inch, the boat heels. You let it out 1 inch, the boat settles down. As I said earlier, but to get to there, you've got to get it all right. You got to get the fairleads, you got to get your repeatable settings.
So with this boat, since we don't have a traveler.
Yep. You got your vang.
I haven't sailed it in like 12
Vang.
years. I found the vang was my solution to them.
Yeah, your vang is your friend, and you got to live. Vang should be right beside your main sheet, right? Yeah, vang. Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to. It's all down to setting your jib and your main, and then opening and closing your leech, which gives you your helm and your lack of helm. So a little more main sheet, a little more helm, a little main sheet, a little less helm. Good? Oh, thank you. I'm honored to do this. I'm honored. I'm just a local hick from Penticton.
When I started helming, I'm going to thank Al on your behalf in a minute. And he doesn't know about this, but anyway, thank you, Al. That was excellent.
Thank you.
But when I first was starting to helm about 3-4 years ago,
Yeah.
okay, never helmed. I was given a crew. Well, I had a crew of 3, and then I needed a 4th. And the one guy said, "Well, I've got Al. He's coming to be on your boat in Vernon for the regatta." I said, "Oh, great." I go in and look, and where's Al? Where's Al? And he's there, sitting very relaxed. Going, "Al, you know, you're coming on my boat. You're okay. You know what to do." And anyway, so Al gets on the boat. It's just like woof. My whole crew is like running. He's trimming, telling them what to do. And this, I got a bullet in almost every single race in my fleet.
Ringer.
He's a ringer, right?
Yeah.
So what he's telling you, boat speed, boat speed, boat speed, trim.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
If you ever get down to San Francisco, go sonar sailing with us.
I'd love to. Yeah. I think the North Americans are in the bay this year. They might be down there.
Which one?
Might be doing big boat on Jam as well.
Big
Yeah.
boat?
And I think the Mel just 24s are down there.
You have to
Uh,
race to get Don Jesper down there.
In what?
Now just 24.
Oh yeah, good.
You know
Yeah. Smoking?
Don Jesper. He
Might
might be
be-
smoking.
He might be smoking. I raced against him at the Gorge. Gorge is completely burnt out, by the way.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Can you believe it? Somebody was playing with firecrackers.
Well, Alan Barnes, Nautical Sailing,
Thank you.
right?
Yep.
What's your website? Nauticalsailing.com, right?
Nauticalsailingservices.com.
Nice job, man.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.